Preparing. Setting up the meeting. All right. Now I'm going to mute myself. There we go. So, Miss Cam, you know that Tanja's coming in, but we were working on this finance worksheet. And for anybody who's following along on YouTube, you'll be able to kind of just see it, but ask questions, put them in the chat and I will get to you. So, let me share my screen. That would be very helpful too. Share my screen here. Boom. And don't think you all really need to see me. And there we go. So I know that you've got numbers here. We've got our across, we've got our down. So tell me, which ones do we need to go over?
Can we go over 13 across?
13 across. All right. So a loan, okay, if I can make this work. A loan that's backed by the government. So we talked about that today. A loan that is actually backed by the government. What we learned, there are two types of loans. Ones that are backed by the government, ones that are not backed by the government. What do we call the ones that are not backed by the government?
Non-conventional, right?
Not, well, if they're, sorry, I meant to say, what do we call the ones that are backed by the government?
Backed by the government is conforming.
Well, conforming means, and I just want to check and
Oh,
make
wait,
sure.
here, government backed, insured.
Insured. Hold on, I think that Zoom is, or YouTube is stuck. So let me just do this, resume. Let me stop share. And I'm going to share again.
Is it guaranteed?
No, it's not guaranteed.
Ugh.
Oh, hey, Caroline. Hey, Dahlia. All right. So we learned today. And so, guys, if you all are just here, I think it kind of froze on that part, but let me know. What we know is that a loan backed by the government is going to be a conventional loan.
Conventional. Yeah. Okay.
And then we also know that, why is this not working? I'm hoping, Damie, I don't know if you all can, wait, actually, not to put you to the side for a second there, but Caroline, Dahlia, or Damie, can you all hear me? Let me see. I just want to make sure you can you all hear me? That's not how you spell hear me. Can you all hear me? Somebody passed, and I need to know if I need to play the song for her. It's so weird. All right, and let me ask can you see the updated iPad screen? Do you see any highlights? Or just the arrow? And Damie, congratulations. Congratulations on passing. So you can see the iPad screen. Okay, as long as you all can see the iPad screen, that is cool. Let me know if you can't. And Damie, I owe you a song, so let me pull that up for you. And let me share it because I am ridiculously proud of you. I love it. And so you get a
Good job, good job.
good job, good job. GOODJOB, good job, good job. Hey, and you get a Now I have my camera off, so y'all can't see me dancing, but I am definitely dancing and making sure that I am celebrating with you. I know you worked so hard, and I love that for you. So, congratulations. If you have questions, ask them. And even though you finished, if there's anything I can help you with, you come to me and I will try my best. So, even though it's telling me that you all can't really see what I'm doing, but whichever. Let's go back to what I was saying to you, Cam. We
Yeah.
learned today that conventional loans are not backed by the government. But we also learned, you said conforming.
Mm-hmm.
And a conforming loan is one that's going to be purchased by Fannie Mae or Ginnie Mae, or remember the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, Freddie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Mac. So that's what that means. So when we look at 13 across, and I'm just going to scroll down, the word here is, and this word isn't used all the time. Usually I'll say it's conventional or it's government, but the other word that is used is unconventional.
Okay.
So it makes sense. It's conventional. And oh, you can't hear the songs, Caroline? That sucks. I will play them for you, Damie, when we figure out why it's not playing. I got nothing. I have nothing. I don't know why. Stupid system is not working. I don't know why. Share computer sound. It's sharing the sound. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I will. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm so proud of you. All right, so we did 13 across. What else
Yes.
do we have?
Okay. And then 10 down.
10 down.
And I know I should
Prince,
know that, but I still couldn't figure it out. And I
principal.
had conventional and I had guaranteed on the other one, and it was unconventional. Ugh.
Well, let's see. Principal and interest.
Yeah.
Okay, and we know for 10 down, this is going to be, it's not PITI because, or like just
No.
PI, because that's what it could have been. If we're talking about principal and
Right.
interest, it could have just been PI, but 10 down.
Mm-hmm.
This one is one that we'll talk about a little bit more when we get into investments.
Okay.
But the answer to this one is, and I don't remember if we've talked about this before in class,
Okay.
debt service. Debt
Okay.
service. So let me kind of explain what that means to you, like why you care.
Okay.
And I'm going to show it to you here.
Okay. Well, I don't feel so bad because I was like stumped on.
It is related to finance, but we just haven't talked about it. So
Okay.
this is a sample operating budget. So if you were to go into, hey, Samit, if you were to go into property management,
Yeah.
you would be doing a budget. And remember, a budget, the key word here is this is an estimate for next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what did you spend, it's what do I think the next year is going to look like. And you're
Right.
going to need all of this information because at the end of the day, when appraisers and people that own properties are trying to find the value, like, hey, is my property doing what it's supposed to? Is my property making me money? What's the value? They use this number, this net operating income.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer, like how this works, is basically it says, for this property that just happened to have 150 units, The potential income, given all of these, could be $1.458 million. But
Mhm.
you know there's going to be some vacancies for 72,000. I mean, we'll do it, which means effectively your income will probably be $1,395,000. But
Mhm.
there's a saying, it takes money to make money.
Mhm.
So even though you might bring in income of $1,395,000, you got expenses. And the total for
Mhm.
those expenses, they figured out, are $501,000. So you might bring in this 1 million, but you're spending 501,000, which means your net operating income would be $894,000. All right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, what I would say is when we look at value, when an appraiser's trying to find the value of a property, they take that net operating income, the NOI, and they divide it by something called a cap rate, which is
Mhm.
a rate of return. All of this is to say, if you owned a property, let's say you and I owned identical properties.
Mhm.
So that's me. I own a property and I have no mortgage. And you own the property and you have a mortgage. At the end of the day, the property itself brings in the same amount of money. It shouldn't matter if I have a mortgage or you have a mortgage. This should be the same value. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Yes.
Yes.
So the reason we care so much about debt service is because when you're trying to come up with value, what you don't include is your debt service. When we're trying to come up with value, you use the net operating income, but it never includes your mortgage principal and interest payments because that should have no effect on what somebody's willing to pay. Whether I have a mortgage or I don't have a mortgage, whether you have a mortgage or you don't have a mortgage, should not affect the value.
Mhm.
So all of this is related to finance, right? And then I had somebody on chat say in real estate, it refers to the periodic payments a borrower makes to cover the principal and interest on a loan, typically a mortgage. Exactly, Caroline. When we're dealing with these investment properties, like an apartment complex, yes, you have expenses, but we're calling them operating expenses.
Mhm.
Having a mortgage is not part of operation. If you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to pay it. So it's not included in how we figure out what the value of something would be. Does that make sense?
Good thought. Yeah.
Cool. So that would be debt service. And that is why you didn't really understand, we hadn't
Yeah.
really talked about it yet. Right?
Okay.
So we got debt service. So we got 13 across, we got 10 down. 13
And then
across, 10 down. What else we got?
31 across. We have
31
a lot of
across.
clues, but I still couldn't figure it out.
An instrument that creates a debt. So
Yeah, which I think of a document, right?
yes.
I think of a
So
mortgage, but I couldn't, I don't know what it was.
that's okay. No, you got this. You got this. We talked about this yesterday, and I don't know if I can find it.
Okay.
Um, where did I draw? I know. No, maybe it was here. Did I do it here yesterday? Boop doop doop. No. Well, let's do it again. I don't remember where it was. But do you remember yesterday me explaining, okay, well, there's a seller, and the seller gives title using a general warranty deed, right, to a buyer, and in exchange, the buyer has money, the sales price. But we know part of that money comes from the down payment, and part of that money comes from the bank. Does that sound familiar? And Dina, you're absolutely right. You have the right answer. But Caroline, Cam, does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry. I was like, wait, I don't know if she's saying yes or not. So the bank is giving you this loan. Are they giving you the loan for free?
No.
What two documents are you giving to the bank to make this
I
work?
got it. Promissory note.
Promissory note. Yes, and Dina, you had it. We got the promissory note. And then we have the collateral document, right? And we know it could either be a deed of trust or it could be an actual mortgage. Because we know the mortgage is what puts the lien on the property, and the deed of trust, you actually transfer title. Good job, Dina. Promissory note. So let's put that wherever this is here. That is 31 across. 31 across. P R I. That's not how you spell promissory. Bless my pretty heart.
But I thought 16 down was
Well, let's take a look.
oh,
Let me
sorry,
fill this in.
subordination. Is 16 down not subordination then?
Let's
Maybe
see.
I
You
had that
said
one wrong.
16 down.
Yeah, maybe I have that one
Right.
wrong.
Okay, so
That's
let's look
why
at what
it didn't
16 down
fit.
says. A loan that does not meet secondary market standards. Secondary market is Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac. Remember this? It doesn't meet secondary market standards. So that means Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac wouldn't buy it. What do we call that? If they're bought by Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, it's boom, what I wrote down here. But if they can't be bought by Fannie Mae, they don't meet those standards, we called it something else. Do you remember what I'm talking about there?
We can't. Okay. They
Look at this
can't
word
buy
down
it.
here.
Conforming.
Conforming means it would be bought by
Oh,
Fannie Mae.
non-conform
Non-conforming. There you go. So 16 down is
is non-conform.
non-conforming.
Okay. All right.
Boom. So all those words do kind of come together. Like you got all these C words. You had conventional, you had conforming. Okay, maybe there's only two C words, but I can get where they get confusing, right? So think of it this way. You know how I did Fanny is open for everybody? You can think of Fannie Mae, maybe you could think Fannie Mae has an M and conforming has an M. That makes sense? That might work. I don't know. It might work for you, might not work for you. I'm hoping it does.
Okay, and then 15 across.
And then 15 across. Let's see. I can mark
Loan
that
in
one.
which borrower is not held
Ooh.
personally liable.
A loan in which a borrower is not held personally liable. We did talk about this. In fact, it's on your slides, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to you because I don't think that you'll guess it. But 15 across is a non-recourse, loan. Do you remember talking about that in class? A non-recourse loan. And it's a loan where, oh, you know what? We talked about this today. What was the type of loan that I said my dad is banned from getting?
The when you're a certain age and they give you equity.
When you're 62 or older and the
Yeah,
bank gives you money from your
right.
equity. That is a
Yeah.
reverse.
Reverse mortgage, right?
And I said in a reverse mortgage, my dad, if he did it, my dad would be getting those checks. But then when he dies, but he's never going to die. But when he dies, who would be responsible for paying it? Me, who's
His
still
heirs.
alive, or him who's dead? Him.
Yeah.
So the borrower is not personally responsible. My dad is the borrower. He's not held personally liable because, in theory, he's dead, but he's not going to die. So there you go. That would be an example of a non-recourse loan. Make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Love it. All right. What else do we have in here?
20 across.
20 across. A
Home equity
home,
line of credit.
yes. A home equity line of credit. I've got one word for you. It rhymes with abbreviation.
Remediation.
Abbreviation. You're looking at 20 across. What would be the abbreviation for a home equity line of credit? A home, how would you shorten that? The initials.
HELOC.
HELOC. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
Now, I said it rhymes with abbreviation. Now, yep, Dina's right. So Dahlia online said 6 across was equity. Is that what you got for 6 across? The difference between market value and any existing mortgage? Did you get
6
equity?
across.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, where's 6 across? Oh yeah, I did get equity. Yes.
Woohoo! So Dahlia, yes, equity is correct. We love that. Love it. And then Caroline said 1 is discount point.
Yes.
1% of the loan amount. And yes, that is. So 1 is point.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I love teamwork. I love teamwork. All right. What do we have next?
Okay. I had 18 down wrong. That's the one with disability, or it's the discrimination, I think. 18
What prohibits discrimination of
in granting
in
the
granting of
credit.
credit?
I thought it was race, but it's obviously not because HELOC wouldn't fit. I mean, it doesn't fit with HELOC.
Doesn't fit with HELOC. So,
Yeah.
how do I say this? What's the name of the law that says you can't discriminate when giving credit based on race, based on color, based on marital status? Well, Caroline, you said redlining. Redlining is the
But it doesn't fit.
activity of It doesn't fit because I'll show
Yeah.
you here. We're doing 20. What are we doing? We're doing
It's 18 down.
18 down. So here it is.
Yeah, it's only 4 letters. That's what it threw me
It's
off. I'm
only
like,
four letters, but
yeah.
redlining is an activity.
Mm-hmm.
Redlining means the banks are being bad. The
Mm-hmm.
banks are being bad. There's a law, there's an act that says you cannot not give credit. You cannot not give credit. Yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
somebody based off of age, race, color, sex, marital status, source of income. Dina's got it. It is the ECOA. Now, I know you
Okay.
don't know this one, Cam, because we haven't talked about it
Yeah.
yet. This
Okay.
stands for the, here we got some space. ECOA. It is
Okay.
the Equal Credit Opportunity.
Okay.
And it's very similar to fair housing. For fair housing, we said, oh, you've got Fred's corn.
Yeah. That's what I think of like when I do the acronym, but I couldn't fit
Mhm.
anything in there. That's why I was
That's okay.
like,
So
immediately
these,
I went to
yeah, that's
race
okay.
because that's the general idea of it, but it didn't fit, obviously.
So the Fair Housing Act say specifically for housing, you can't discriminate based on like where somebody's going to live based on those protected classes. The
Right.
Equal Credit Opportunity Act is for all credit.
Okay.
You can't not give me a car loan because I'm African American. You can't
Right.
not give me a car loan because I'm not married. You can't not give me a house loan because you don't like the fact I don't have a job, but I have my money in I'm a trust fund baby. They
Right.
can't discriminate based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So ECOA is the act,
Yeah.
and redlining is when you actually discriminate based off of race. This
The
is the
action.
act that's
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Ah, love it. Love the
Okay.
clarification. What else we
And
got?
then 21 across.
21 across. A mortgage that includes principal,
Principal interest.
interest, taxes, and insurance.
Yeah. I'm thinking
Okay.
this is super easy and I don't know.
Well, this one is one of those terms, and I love this, whether I'm talking to you, Cam, as my student, or if I'm talking to the people on YouTube. The answer to this one is budget.
Oh,
This is kind of an antiquated term,
okay.
but I still like it because what I would never want to have happen is you take a test question and they're like, Cam is getting a budget loan. What does this include? And you're like,
Hmm.
oh, you mean PITI?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say that? Why didn't you just say PITI? Why did you have to call it a fancy word, budget? So this is where that list of acronyms comes in, right? It's not that I don't actually think the majority of you all will ever see this on a test. But what if you do? Just
Right.
seeing it this one time will make you go, budget? Oh, yeah, that's just PITI. That's pretty basic. Okay. I can do that one. All right, what else we got? What else do we have? Oh, we did 21. We did. Oh, you said you'll never forget 34. What was 34?
Start.
Start. Yep, that was start. So tell me in your own words, what is a start rate?
When you get the actual loan, it's fixed and with the arm, it's fixed for a certain period of time.
Yes.
And that's
So
that's the starting rate.
so in the arm, this is where you literally start at. So it might be
Yes.
like a 5 year. For the first 5 years, you start at this start rate and it doesn't change. Love
Right.
it. Love it. All right, what else we got? Anything else? Or was there anything when we talked about this earlier in class that shocked you? Like, I know I told you four earlier in class, car payments, mortgage, or rent payments. When we're looking at your income, we consider all of those things to be liabilities.
Liabilities, yeah. I won't forget that either. Because that one I just could not figure that one out.
That's
And
okay.
is seven across assumption?
Let's see, seven across. A clause in the arm, a clause in the interest rate that it, the clause that allows the interest rate to adjust in an arm. What did you say you thought it was?
Assumption?
Well, no, assumption, to assume a loan. Remember, I said, oh, if they assume your loan, they're buying into it, they're taking over your payments. So,
Okay.
assumption is a great word, but not this one.
Well, it ends with ION, right?
It
So it's
does end
something.
with ION. What do you use if you don't take an elevator?
The stairs,
And if they're moving stairs?
an escalator,
So it would be the what type?
escalation.
Escalation clause.
Yay!
So you can think about it, and I know this sounds stupid, but in my mind, did I spell escalation right? Nope, I did not. In my mind, I think about it like in my, you know how like when you watch Sesame Street, they have like the fuzzy Muppets that are numbers or letters or shapes or something like that. I just imagine like these fuzzy Muppets being on an escalator and having the numbers go up. I know that sounds crazy and stupid, but literally in my mind, when I think escalation clause, I think of these little Muppets going up an escalator, and that's the interest rate goes up too. Call me crazy,
Right.
which we already knew I was crazy before we started this, but that's what I think of. Now, Dahlia said, is 19 down collateral? Let's see. Mortgaged backed securities, 19 down. Is it collateral? So, Cam, is that what you had? Hmm.
Okay. Hold on one
Let's look at
second.
19 down. It's right here. So it's
Uh,
not collateral.
Oh no, I have MBS,
Yes, it is MBS, mortgage backed
backed
securities.
securities.
So,
Yeah.
Dahlia, mortgage backed securities are just, they call them MBS. Now, I do want to make sure, Dahlia, and I'll wait because I know there's a little bit of a delay. Do you understand what a mortgage-backed security is? Because if you don't, we definitely need to go over it. So I'm just going to wait a moment. But we did talk about it, Cam, earlier today. We talked about mortgage-backed securities when we were talking about the secondary mortgage market. So, Dahlia, let me know. Do I need to go over MBSs with you? Wait, is that no, you don't know, or no, you don't need me to? Ah, help you to understand. I got you. I got you. I got you. Okay, so let's go over it. Mm, Let me go to 100%. I like it when we learn stuff. All right, so we know we have a bank. And the bank makes mortgage loans. And then they package these mortgage loans. They like put them together and they sell them to the secondary mortgage market. And we know that secondary mortgage market is Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, and Federal Home Loan Mortgage, Freddie Mac. So the bank takes their money, they make mortgage loans, then they package all these mortgage loans they've made and they sell them to the secondary mortgage market. So then the secondary mortgage market then gives this money because they buy these loans. And the bank takes that money and they make more mortgage loans. Right? This is how this is what banks do. So earlier today, when I was in class, we kind of did some of this math. And let's say the bank made $100 million in loans. 100 million. That would be the loan, like the actual principal that was loaned out. But the principal and interest over 30 years might be 600 million. The bank might have loaned out $100 million in principal, but by the time people pay back with interest rates, the bank might get 600 million. That means they get their original $100 million investment, plus they're getting a new 500 million. The problem here is they have to wait 30 years, which is the poo. So instead, what the secondary mortgage market does is they say, hey, it's worth 600 million. We'll give you 300 million today. Today, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, they'll give you 300 million. So it's worth 600 million, but we'll sell it. We'll buy it. They'll sell it. We'll buy it for 300 million. Well, why would the bank do this? Because instead of waiting 30 years for $500 million, today they're going to make back their $100 million investment plus 200 million in early interest. That sounds great. Why would you wait 30 years for 500 million? What if we all get blown up by Skynet? I don't know. Why would you wait 30 years for this 500 million when you can make 200 million today? So this is the money that goes to the bank so that they can, does that make sense? So that they can buy loans. So they, you know what I'm trying to say. The secondary mortgage market buys the loans and then they use that money. So now this 300 million they use to make more mortgage loans. Right? So, Caroline, because I know, does that make sense to you? Just that half of the circle. Does that make sense to you? Oh, not Caroline and Cam and Dahlia and Dina.
Yes.
Yay. You know what I should do? I should probably say, hey, if people email me, what if people email me and then the people who email me are in the Zoom room, and then people who didn't email me would just watch. They just watch. But I feel like the people who come every week should just come, and that way we won't be in a lag. I might think about that. Okay, so this is half of the circle. Let me choose some new colors here. Purple. Let's use pink. Nope, we already used pink. Let's use orange. Well, the secondary mortgage market needed $300 million. Well, where do they get that money from? This money comes from investors. Money comes from investors who want to make money off of these loans. So, just like we all know if you talk about stocks and bonds, we're referring to the stock market. And another word for the stock market is people dealing in securities. Securities is just a fancy way of saying stocks and bonds. You know, if you bought stock in Apple, now you're an owner, and then you get money during the year because it's an investment. You're a part owner, you invested money into Apple, and as they make a profit, you get some of that money. So you own part of Apple. A bond is when you make a loan. Just like when you get like government bonds from your grandparents, and they might give you a $50 bond when you're born. And then when you're 18 years old, they're like, here's $55. It's a loan. You loaned the government $50. And when they paid it back, they paid you back $55. That is securities. That is the stock market. Well, as an investor, instead of investing in Apple, instead of giving the government a loan, what you can do is invest in these mortgages that people are going to pay back over time. So, as an investor, you buy an MBS. That stands for a mortgage backed security. Remember, securities is the stock market. So you're literally providing the money that is going to the bank so that that goes to Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, whatever, so that they can buy these packaged loans. Does that make sense? Right, so the money comes from the investors, right? And then what happens is those investors, when money comes in, they get paid. So when some of this interest money comes in from PI payments, some of that money goes to these investors over 30 years. It's a mortgage backed investment, an MBS. Whew. So, Cam, does that ring true to what you understood earlier today?
Yes.
Yay. And Dahlia, Dina, Caroline, does that make sense to what? Let me know if I need to explain it some more. It never hurts to hear it again. Never hurts to hear it again. But I'm hoping, Dahlia, that MBS now makes sense. Yay. All right. Let's go back to this. Are there any more here that you didn't get that we need to talk about? That's a question for you, Cam.
I got them all.
You got them all. All
Well,
right.
if they're correct, I hope they all fit. So.
Okay, well, let's try filling in. Okay, let me see the hard ones. They all fit. What did you get for 24 across? What did you get for 24 across? Do. My favorite word in real estate. What you get for that one?
I got this one.
Okay, tell me what you got.
I can never say it right.
Hypothecation.
Hypothecation. Hypothecation?
Hypothecation.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh,
Po.
vacation.
Sounds like a vacation.
Yeah, I'll take a vacation. There you go.
So, can you tell me how hypothecation relates to both cars and houses?
It's
Mhm.
putting up the collateral.
Putting up the
The process of putting up the collateral?
the process of putting up collateral, but you're not giving up
Oh, ownership.
not ownership, but what's a state that relates to estates. An estate is an interest in real estate strong enough to give you the right to possess it, to
Possess it.
live
Okay,
there.
I was using ownership.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but meaning like you don't you stay in your house or you use the car.
Yes. And both the house loan and the car loan, if you're in a deed of trust state, a title theory state, you give title to the bank. The bank owns the house, the bank owns the car, but you get to retain possession. You get to drive the car so you can make the money to pay off the loan. You get to live in the house so you can sleep, so you can get up in the morning to take the car to make the money to pay for the mortgage.
Right. So the
So there
difference
you go.
is possession until you own the title of the house or you own the title of the
Yes,
car.
exactly. You
Got
don't
it.
get ownership back until
Yes.
you pay off the house or pay off the car. You get equitable title, the right to claim it later, but the bank has legal title, which is why if you have a car loan, the bank can just repo your car. They don't have to ask you permission before they sell it. They just come and get it, right?
Yes.
And if it's what was I gonna say? I was going to say something. Oh, if it's a house loan and it's a title theory state, then you would just, they just going to go ahead and sell it using a non-judicial foreclosure. All right. Okay. Anything else on this list we need to go over? And I know that I know you've been quiet, Miss Latanja, but is there anything here that you wanted to go over as well? And Cambria, it doesn't have to be just this sheet. If you want me to do a math problem, if you want me to talk about any topic, just let me know. And that goes to anybody watching on YouTube as well.
I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm just listening through everything because I'm not at a stable spot. So I'm just listening through on YouTube.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. And Miss Cam, is there anything that you want me to go over specifically?
Um, I know you go over it all the time and you have the best slide for it for the estates, but do you mind going over that one more time?
I don't mind going over it for estates. Okay. So,
Yeah.
do. Never hurts to go over estates.
Yeah. I feel like I know it, but when you go over it, it just seems so easy. Just
It's because I'm magical like a unicorn. I'm
uh,
magical. All right, so we know estate means you have the right to live there. We know freehold means you ownership. Non-freehold means you are leasing it. The word fee means it's inheritable. So a fee simple absolute, you own it forever, meaning you own it unless you do something to get rid of it. You decide to sell it. You decide to will it away, like whatever. You own it forever. That's your fee simple absolute. But your fee simple defeasible is you could maybe, maybe you'll own it forever. Why? Because in the fee simple defeasible, there's some type of rule you can't break. And if you break the rule, ownership could go back to the original grantor. If you don't break the rule, then yeah, you could own it forever. So remember, Cam, I gave you the example of my mom who's uber religious. She doesn't drink. She might give you a beach house and be like, Cam, this is your beach house as long as you do not drink alcohol in here.
Right.
And you know what? It would be your house as long as you don't drink alcohol. And if you sold it or you willed it to somebody else, as long as they don't drink alcohol, they're cool. But the minute somebody has a sip of alcohol, that's not your property anymore.
Anymore. Yep.
The difference is determinable. It would automatically go back to my mom.
Okay.
And conditional starts with the letter C. And what other word starts with the letter C?
Condition.
Condition. Yes, conditional and condition both start with the letter C. Mhm. I was thinking about someplace where you would find a judge. Where do you see the judge? It's a room. I know you know this.
Oh, the
I mean,
judge at the
where
court.
court.
The court.
There you go.
Sorry. Can see how much I go to court.
Court. Yes, court. So in a fee simple conditional, remember the C for conditional, the C for court, my mom would have to take you to court in order to get ownership back. Right?
Just tell me where you're going, Bill.
So then on our next section, we have our, let me choose a new color, our life estates. And if it's a life estate, it's based on a life. It's based on a lifetime. So an ordinary conventional life estate means the life tenant is the same as the measuring life. And we know the life tenant is the new owner. So the new owner owns it as long as the new owner is alive. There's no inheritance. No inheritance on that one. Because the new owner, the life tenant, only owns it as long as that life tenant is alive. Versus the Poratri V life estate. Poratri V means for the life
Of another.
of another. And this means, and I'm just going to put down here, the life tenant is different than the measuring life. So I might say, you know what, Cam, you've been wanting to move to Detroit, Michigan. My dad is going to give you, we're gonna give you my dad's house. Well, sorry, I would say it this way. My dad could say, look, I'm gonna live here as, okay, that's not a good example. I tried to make it too complicated. So let's just go with what I know. A Poratri V life estate. You would have Batman who gives, because Batman's going to start with fee simple absolute. He's going to give ownership to Superman. Superman has a life estate, right? But it's only as long as Alfred is alive. Alfred is the measuring life. So the original owner with fee simple absolute was Batman. Now Superman owns it, but for how long? As long as Alfred is alive. And when Alfred kicks the bucket, then ownership could go back to Batman, and we would call that a reversion. Or Superman could give it to Wonder Woman, and that would be a remainder. the remainder man.
And Wonder Woman doesn't have to be related?
Nope. Wonder Woman could be an imaginary friend.
Okay.
I mean, I actually don't think they could actually be an imaginary friend, but you get what I mean.
Okay.
All right. Was that a good review? Did that kind of help?
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything?
And then how does the remainder man come in there?
So the remainder man is just named. So there's going to be a document. And that document is going to say, hey, Batman is giving to Superman until Alfred dies. And then property goes to Wonder Woman. Like literally it's spelled out. It's in the document. Which is why we hire CYA,
An attorney.
an attorney. Woo woo.
Yeah.
All right. If anybody is still watching on YouTube, I want you all to email me. I think I want to try next week. YouTube people that come all the time. If you made it all through this hour, I'm going to send you the Zoom link, and then we'll all be in here together so that it can be all time together. And then anybody who just kind of wants to fall in and just watch and listen, they can. And then Dina said, could I go over lien priority if I have time? Of course I have time. That's what I do this for. So lien priority. We know that somebody takes a document like a deed. Got the Register of Deeds. And we know the Register of Deeds, there's a library. Okay. I was going to try to make books, but there's books at the library. It says book 1, this is book 2, this is book 3, this is book 4. All right. So then whoever's coming into the library says, hey, I have the next deed, or I have the next lien, I have the next notice, whatever it is. And so it's going to be in book 4, page maybe 89 and 90. But let's say this is a lien. Let's say it's not a deed, but it's a lien. This would be maybe this thing is a mechanic's lien. Well, when it goes to foreclosure sale, if this property, because we know this will be a specific lien, when a property goes through foreclosure, everything is indexed by name and address. So when it goes through foreclosure, the way the monies get paid out is first, the cost of sale, which is the attorney. Second would be real property taxes. And then third, the order of recorded items. So if there's another lien that's in book 5, pages 8 through 12, I don't know, that would get paid after this one. This would be the first one paid. This would be the second one paid. This would be the senior lien. This would be the junior lien. It gets paid in the order it was recorded. So hopefully that makes sense. Dina, let me know if that makes sense or if I need to, if you were looking for something different. I I do love explaining. I don't know why I love explaining real estate so much. Perfect. All right, guys, it is 7:57. I will be back on Friday. What is that? August 8th at 3 p.m. It'll just be a regular Zoom live. Not Zoom, YouTube live. But I do have a new game that I'm excited to play with you all. So join me. Y'all, if you have questions, you know how to reach me, or tell your friends. These are open office hours. I'm here to help in any way I can. Bring your questions, and I will see you next time. Cam, Latondra, I will see you in class on Monday, unless you come on Friday, and I'll talk to you then.
All
Okay,
righty.
perfect. Thank you
Okay.
so much
All
for your
right.
time.
No
All right.
problem. Bye, everybody. This is that awkward moment at the end of this thing that I'm like, oh, wait, how do I turn off the Zoom? If you're still listening, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, how do I end the Zoom? All right.